The email notification pinged while 3 different monitors tracked my vital signs, and my baby's heartbeat filled the room like a frantic drum solo. I was 7.5 months pregnant, hooked up to enough medical equipment to launch a space shuttle. And my husband of 5 years chose that exact moment to divorce me via email. Not a text, not a call, certainly not in person. An email. Subject line, moving forward separately. I'm Caitlyn Fischer, 29 years old, and, apparently, newly single. The message read like a business proposal. Bradley had actually bullet-pointed his reasons for leaving me, as if I were an underperforming employee being handed a termination notice. Irreconcilable differences topped the list, followed by different life goals and, my personal favorite, need for personal growth. The man who couldn't grow a tomato plant suddenly needed personal growth. My hands shook as I scrolled. The baby's monitor began to beep faster, keeping pace with my heart. Then I saw it. Effective immediately. He'd already filed. While I'd been admitted 3 days earlier with complications that could trigger early labor, while doctors worried about our daughter's survival, Bradley had been sitting in a lawyer's office signing papers. I switched to our banking app, already bracing for what I'd find. Our joint account, which had held $47,000 just yesterday, now showed $12.83. He'd left just enough to keep it technically open. Checking, savings, emergency fund. Gone. 5 years of careful budgeting, overtime hours, skipped vacations to build a future for our baby, transferred out while I lay in a hospital bed fighting to keep her inside me for a few more weeks. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Diane, whom I hadn't spoken to in 2 years thanks to a ridiculous fight over our mother's china set. Why is Bradley posting pictures with some blonde from your living room? I opened Instagram with trembling fingers. There he was, my husband, arms wrapped around a woman who looked barely old enough to order a drink, standing in front of our fireplace. Our wedding photos were still on the mantle behind them. The caption read, "New chapter with my queen at #TiffanyFitLife." The nurse, Sandra, must have noticed the monitor spike because she rushed in, sneakers squeaking against the linoleum. "Honey, you need to stay calm. Whatever's happening, it's not worth." "My husband just divorced me by email," I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded, emptied our accounts and moved his girlfriend into our house. Sandra's mouth fell open. She'd been taking care of me for 3 days. Bradley had visited exactly once, for 12 minutes, while scrolling through his phone. That absolutely worthless piece of, she stopped herself. Sorry, professional boundaries. No, please, continue. I'd love a professional opinion. She checked my vitals, muttering about certain anatomical impossibilities in Bradley's future. What are you going to do? She asked. I looked at the email again and typed a single-word reply. Understood. That's it? Sandra's eyebrows shot up. Just understood. Just understood. My phone rang immediately. Bradley. Declined. It rang again. Declined. The 3rd time, Sandra grabbed it. Mr. Fisher, this is ICU. Your wife can't come to the phone right now because, oh, wait, she's not your wife anymore, is she? Also, you've been removed as her emergency contact. Have a blessed day. She hung up and handed it back. Oops, slipped. I laughed, then winced as a contraction hit. False alarm. A reminder that my daughter didn't care about her father's timing. You know what's funny? I said as Sandra adjusted my IV. He thinks I'm just some pushover accountant who'll roll over and accept this. He has no idea what I actually do. What do you do? I'm a forensic accountant. I specialize in finding hidden assets during divorces. The irony was thick enough to butter toast with. I help women discover what their husbands are really worth when they suddenly claim poverty. Sandra's grin could have powered the entire hospital. Oh, she said softly, this is going to be good. Another text came in, from my business partner, Roger. Bradley just called asking for your client list, said you're transferring your accounts to him. I told him to perform an anatomically impossible act. You okay? The contractions were stronger now, not active labor, but warning shots, stress-induced. The doctor had warned me. I needed to calm down. Instead, I opened my laptop. The next morning brought revelations like a clearance sale on bad decisions, shocking, and somehow worse the longer you looked. Patricia, Bradley's mother, called at 6 a.m., furious in a way I'd never heard during 5 years of polite family dinners. "That little workout girl is wearing my grandmother's pearls," she hissed. "The ones from the family safe. The ones I was saving for my first grandchild." I pulled up Instagram. There was Tiffany, posing with protein powder, draped in heirloom pearls Bradley had sworn he would never touch. "Screenshot everything," I said. "Already done. Did you know she's been calling herself the future Mrs. Fisher since April?" April. When I was planning our baby shower. When Bradley said he was too busy to help choose decorations. The real blow came an hour later when HR from my health insurance called. "Mrs. Fisher, we're calling about the termination of your coverage." "Excuse me? Your husband filed separation papers dated 2 months ago, making you ineligible for spousal coverage. The termination is retroactive." I was in the ICU, pregnant, high risk. The silence on the line stretched. "Ma'am," the representative continued carefully, "that's insurance fraud. If he falsified dates while you were hospitalized, would you mind sending that to me in writing?" "Absolutely. We're opening an investigation." Bradley had forged my signature on the separation acknowledgement. Another felony to add to his growing collection. Mallory, my best friend from college and now a ruthless divorce attorney, arrived with coffee, clean clothes, and the kind of smile predators wear. "So," she said, setting up her laptop, "he's committed mail fraud, wire fraud, insurance fraud, forgery, and theft. It's like he's going for fraud bingo. Can you take my case?" "Honey, I would pay you to take this case pro bono until we get your money back, then my standard rate, from his assets." She glanced at another document. "Remember that prenup he insisted on? The infidelity clause?" I did. He'd been paranoid I would cheat with a client. $200,000, she said calmly. "That's the penalty." He doesn't have $200,000. He has a 401k, a Mercedes, a boat he conveniently forgot to disclose, and parents with deep pockets who are currently furious. Her smile widened. "He'll find it." The deeper we dug, the worse it became. Secret credit cards. Company funds spent on spa days and Napa weekends with Tiffany. A fake client created to funnel money. 8 months of emails proving the affair started before we even tried for a baby. One message from Bradley read, "Caitlyn's too hormonal to fight back." Hormonal. I'd show him hormonal. Then came the recording, from his golf buddy, of Bradley bragging after a few beers. "By the time she leaves the hospital, everything'll be locked down. House is mine. Money's gone. She gets nothing but stretch marks and a kid I never wanted anyway." Sandra had to sit down after hearing that. "He never wanted the baby?" she whispered. "Apparently not." But life had one more twist waiting. When my grandmother's estate documents were reviewed, a clause surfaced. Upon the birth of my first child, $500,000 from the Morrison Family Trust would be released into a protected account for the child's future. Bradley had dismissed it once as old people paperwork. He never asked again. He assumed there was nothing there. He assumed wrong. Harper Miranda Morrison arrived at 4:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, 6 weeks early, furious, and perfect. Bradley was at a sunrise boot camp with Tiffany when she was born. He didn't know that the trust activated the moment Harper's birth certificate was filed. He didn't know federal investigators were reviewing forged documents. He didn't know his employer had scheduled a compliance review. He didn't know every transaction, every lie, every stolen dollar had been cataloged in color-coded spreadsheets from a hospital bed. But he would. I looked down at my daughter, tiny, fierce, already fighting. "Effective immediately," I whispered. He wanted separate futures. He was about to get one. The final tally was breathtaking, $67,000 over 2 years in personal expenses disguised as business costs. He expensed a couple's massage as client relationship building, Roger said over the phone, disgust thick in his voice. "The client doesn't exist. We checked business registrations, completely fabricated. Shocking. I deadpanned. He also billed Tiffany's entire CrossFit certification as professional development for a financial analyst. 8 grand. Well, I replied, adjusting Harper in my arms. He did develop into a professional criminal. Dr. Ramirez stopped by to check on us, cooing over Harper before her expression turned serious. The insurance company called. She said, they're expediting approval for all your care, including NICU coverage if needed. Apparently, someone high up is very interested in your case. That someone turned out to be Cheryl's boss, Director Williams, who'd been waiting for a clean, prosecutable fraud case. Bradley had practically gift-wrapped himself. Patricia arrived later with coffee and a gleam in her eye. Tiffany's moving out. I nearly dropped Harper. What? She found out about the FBI investigation, and she discovered Bradley is broke. Turns out she's been living on credit cards he's been maxing out. She thought she was getting a sugar daddy. Patricia smirked. Instead, she got a Splenda father. A what? Fake sweet. Terrible aftertaste. Even sleep deprived. I laughed. Patricia's fury had sharpened her wit to a blade. The financial autopsy kept uncovering more. 6 secret credit cards. Nearly maxed. $45,000 in debt. He'd been making minimum payments with money siphoned from our joint savings. It's basically a Ponzi scheme, Mallory explained, flipping through statements. Except he's both the scammer and the victim. Frank called next. Bradley's been terminated, effective immediately. We're pressing embezzlement charges. His final paycheck's going toward restitution. He doesn't know yet. He'll find out Monday when his keycard fails. Poetic symmetry. He'd blindsided me with an email. He'd be blindsided by a locked door. Janet, Mallory's paralegal, had assembled a timeline that looked like a crime documentary storyboard. April 2nd. Tiffany posts, new beginnings. April 3rd. Jersey account opened. April 4th. First large withdrawal from joint savings. It's almost instructional. He thought he was clever. Stupid people often do. Harper, despite arriving early, was thriving, loud and opinionated. The NICU nurses adored her. I said she'd inherited my refusal to be ignored. Meanwhile, Tiffany's social media imploded. Diane monitored everything. She's claiming she didn't know you were pregnant, Diane said, showing me screenshots. The woman wore my maternity leggings in workout videos. The internet noticed. Also, someone found your wedding registry. Your names are on the cookware she's been flaunting. The hospital social worker, Maria, secured emergency Medicaid when insurance briefly wavered. The state takes abandonment of pregnant women seriously, she said, especially with documented fraud. You're covered. They'll go after him. Saturday afternoon, Tiffany sent me a direct message. Can we talk? I looped Mallory in before responding. The call was illuminating. He told me you were separated for a year, Tiffany said, her voice small without filters and lighting. Said you were unstable, that the baby wasn't his. The baby who looks exactly like him. Silence. He showed me commitment papers, she continued, said you were in a psychiatric hospital. Another felony. I'm moving back in with my parents, she sniffed. He said he was rich, that he owned the company. He said, I repeated. I was stupid. Yes, I said calmly, you were. Send me everything he gave you, every document, every message. Why would you help me? I'm not helping you, I'm dismantling him, you're just useful. Monday morning unfolded like choreography. At 8:47 a.m., Bradley walked into his office, coffee in hand. At 8:48 a.m., his keycard failed. At 8:49 a.m., security escorted him to our. Frank called afterward, barely containing his satisfaction. We presented your forensic report. His face went through 5 stages of grief in under a minute. He tried blaming you, then asked if we could work something out. After creating a fake company? After everything. Process servers met him in the parking lot, divorce countersuit, embezzlement charges, insurance fraud notices, federal subpoenas. Mallory had stationed herself across the street just to witness it. He tried to run, she told me later, slipped in a puddle. The process server helped him up before handing him federal paperwork. The house unraveled next. Police arrived about the stolen jewelry, thanks to Patricia buying back my grandmother's ring through Facebook Marketplace as evidence. Tiffany was wearing it when officers showed up. Patricia said, claimed Bradley gifted it. They explained that's still receiving stolen property. Tiffany cooperated fully. She handed over everything, including fake psychiatric commitment documents and a falsified death certificate for my unborn child. He told her the baby died? I asked, stunned. He told her you miscarried months ago. Mallory confirmed. The FBI agent actually whistled when she saw that document. The credit cards were frozen. The Mercedes was repossessed. The country club revoked his membership. The CrossFit gym banned him after Tiffany went live and exposed everything, receipts held up to the camera. The comments were merciless. Karma, it seemed, had excellent Wi-Fi. An FBI agent named Martinez called Friday. In 20 years, she said, I've rarely seen someone commit this many federal crimes for this little money. Usually forgery and death certificates are tied to million-dollar schemes. Your ex did it for a house he didn't pay for and a girlfriend who can't balance a checkbook. The plea deal eventually landed, 6 years in federal prison, 3 years supervised release, full restitution, lifetime ban from financial sector employment. 6 years? Bradley reportedly gasped. You're lucky. His lawyer told him, you're too incompetent to be considered sophisticated. The divorce ruling was swift. House awarded to me. Prenup enforced. $200,000 penalty. Full custody. Supervised visitation only, pending incarceration logistics. When Bradley turned to me in court and said, think of Harper. She needs a father. I answered evenly. She needs stability, not you. 6 months later, life had rhythm again. Harper thrived. My forensic accounting firm exploded. Publicly dismantling your fraudulent ex-husband turns out to be excellent marketing. We called our specialty, Bradley cases, women whose husbands mistook pregnancy for weakness. Director Williams invited me to consult on federal fraud investigations. We could use your instincts, she said. You see patterns others miss. I accepted. Even Bradley's former company hired me to conduct a deeper audit. My findings added 2 years to his sentence. Tiffany sent a handwritten apology months later, no filters, no hashtags. She enclosed $5,000 for Harper's college fund. I deposited it into a 529 plan. She was young. She was learning. Bradley's letters from prison came weekly. I found God. I've changed. Can you send commissary money? I returned them unopened. On Harper's first birthday, Bradley signed away parental rights in exchange for lighter restitution payments. He sold his daughter for debt relief. We didn't mention him at her party. That night, a news alert popped up, federal fraud case used as FBI training example. Bradley's mugshot stared back beneath a quote from Director Williams about domestic financial abuse escalating into federal crime. I screenshot it and texted Mallory 2 words. Still understood. As Harper slept peacefully in her crib, I thought about that I see you email, the moment he believed I was too vulnerable to fight back. He was wrong. And every time another pregnant woman calls me, voice shaking, bank account emptied, husband vanished, I tell her the same thing. He thinks you're weak. He thinks you won't fight. He thinks he'll win. Pause. He's wrong.